Этот человек стоит неподвижно уже час. Он не шевелится и не разговаривает. Я не знаю, вызывать ли полицию, но что мне делать?
有。
Apparently Beyonce kidnapped and blackballed Sia. So in 2016 she puts out a random tweet. Like no correlation. It's one of those ones where it's like eggs, bacon, grease.
Oh, it's a code.
Yeah, it's code. It's code.
I'll show you the code, bro.
Yeah. It says, baby, everything your own nice cat eats, period. Kangaroo is dead. Nowhere and purple penguins every day. My egg.
What the fuck?
Yeah. You take every single letter of the first word and it spells Beyonce kidnapped me.
No way. Look right there.
So they circled the first word in every letter.
Oh my god, it really...
What the fuck? When was the last time you heard about Sia? Never.
Very time ago. But she was number one on radio for a minute.
Yeah, exactly, until this. In one of the interviews when Beyonce was talking about Sia, look what she said.
Can we interview Sasha?
No, she's never done an interview. I don't know if she ever will. Because I don't really think I would like her interview.
No, I don't think I really would want her to be in an interview. Michael Jackson, I'll see ya. See ya, double baby oil.
Say, do you love me? I tell her only partly. I only love my bed.
Yo, this is what my baby just drew.
See, so listen, we gotta do. Oh, come on.
Yes, another duende story, and of course it's coming from Mexico, Veracruz to be exact. I feel like I've been reading a lot of duende stories, so if you guys are getting tired of it, let me know so I can block you. I promise, I'm just kidding, but yeah, let me know and I'll make other videos. I just feel like I love duende stories, so like I don't think I could ever get tired of them. So the guy says that this happened to him when they were really young and they were very poor. He does say that they're no longer poor anymore. I mean, they're not the richest, but they're in a better economic state now. So he says that his mom was a single mother of 3 children, which is him being the oldest, younger brother, and a younger sister. He says that they were so poor that they actually qualified for the new program that they started in Mexico that was kind of like housing here in the US. So as soon as they got approved, they went to go look at that house and they noticed that there weren't a lot of families there. They also noticed that the house that they got was kind of isolated because they were surrounded by other houses but nobody was living in them yet. So a week passes and they end up moving into that house and the mom got a job as a babysitter. He says that every everything was going great except for when his mom started coming home very late at night and they would wait for her there at the house. There was also a very specific time where the mom was at the hospital with his sister, so they knew that she was gonna come home late. She did call them and told them to not leave the house and to just wait for her and they could watch TV if they wanted. At the time, he was only 9 years old and his brother was only 1 year younger than him. He said that both of them agreed to listen to mom and just went to the living room and watched TV. At around 8 p.m., they started to hear children screaming and playing and laughing outside, which they thought was very weird because again, there were no children living in that neighborhood. So he says that his brother tells him, hey, do you hear those kids playing? And he was like, yeah, I can hear them. And his brother's like, we should go outside and play with them. But he was like, no, we need to listen to mom and we do not go outside. We need to stay in here until she comes home. He also said that he thought to himself that it was weird that these kids weren't out playing during the day, but they came to play at nighttime. So that's what also made him decide not to go outside. As time passes, they could still hear the kids playing out there, but he was determined to listen to his mom. He mentions that he could also hear the kids running like around the house, because even though the houses were right next to each other, he says that there was just like a tiny little path, like a way for them to run through, that he can hear them just running and laughing around that house. That was also the time where someone was knocking on the door. When he went to the door, it was his mom's friend that lived like in the same housing that they did, but just in a different street. When he opened the door, the mom's friend was like, okay, you're gonna come to my house, come on kids, and they listened to him. When they got to his house, he told them to go inside and stay with his wife and to not come out until the mom gets here and picks them up. He also noticed that he didn't go inside the house, he stayed in front of the door and sat there the entire time. He says that the mom ended up coming to pick them up around 10, but before she even got inside the man's house, he overheard when the man told his mom, Mija, if you're gonna come home this late, please let us know and we'll take care of the kids just for them to be really safe. We do not care how late you get here, but please let us know so that we can watch over them and take care of them. He says that the mom agreed and picked up the kids and they went home. So that happened. A lot of time passed. He is now 18 years old. He says that they were having dinner and they were reminiscing about that little house that they used to live in. And they were also talking about the man because he has since passed away. And the topic of those kids running around that house at night and playing came up. And they asked the mom, like, why were their parents allowing them to play at nighttime, but we never saw them during the day? Like, we never had kids to play with in that neighborhood. She answered with, that's because those were not kids. And they were all like, what do you mean they weren't kids? And the mom was like, okay, well, this is gonna sound a little bit ridiculous, but those things were duendes. I believe that those duendes were trying to lure you guys out to go and play with them, and then they would have taken you. She tells them, I know this is gonna sound crazy, but I've heard stories of duendes coming and offering kids to come out and play, or offering them candies, or offering them toys, and then they go missing. He says that till this day, he always thinks about what would have happened if he had listened to his little brother and been like, yeah, let's go out and play, or what would have happened if that man had never came and taken them to his house for safety. He says that thank God everything happened the way it did, and that we listened to our mom when she told us not to go outside, because maybe they wouldn't be here to give us this story today. Braylon? Braylon? What's happening with your car?
real.
Always tell my kids to not be scared of this doll until tonight. She has to go.
You've gotta stop. You gotta stop. It is.
Made it to the Appalachian Mountains. So far, no skin.
Just walking down the trail, me, Gavin, and Greg. Say what's up, Gavin.
Hey, how you doing?
Here's Greg. What's up, Greg?
All talk and no bite.
He's the quiet type. We can't get him to talk. Ah, we know you, Greg. We know you. We know you.
This time. Hello? Hey, no. No, stay there. Hey. Oh my. Dude. It's okay. It's okay.
Whoa. I'm the
So there's this. No way.
What is this new filter? Bro, why they fuck?
So start recording before the green screen comes up. It's supposed to.
I'm not crying.
Meow.
Jesus! You can't be popping up on me like that. You do that too much. Ah! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god!
I thought that this was cute. It's also Steve Mac.
Do you remember the show El Chapulín Colorado?
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know what El Chapulín Colorado is, maybe the English speakers.
Yeah, I was about to say people who are not even Mexican either.
It was a show very, very popular back in the day. Featured one of the most famous actors in the Mexican community, which was El Chespirito, Roberto Mario Gomez Bolaños. He also played El Chavo del Ocho, and was just loved, bro. When he passed away, like a lot of people felt it. And there was this one episode that gave you a weird, creepy, eerie vibe, and specifically affected the people who have a severe fear of clowns. And I think you're afraid of clowns, right?
Kinda, bro. It depends on how they look, not gonna lie.
I'm gonna show you the episode, but a lot of people remember this. It was late at night when they watched this episode, and they thought it was just like kind of a fever dream. They didn't think it was a real life episode,
But it was.
like a little context. Right here, he falls into a hole, but he ends up falling into a different reality, a clown world.
I can see why people say it's a fever dream.
Now imagine being like 5 and watching this in the middle of the night.
Oh my. What the fuck? I can see why that probably scared some kids, or maybe it started their fear of clowns.
The time an entire town got away with murder. In the small town of Skidmore, Missouri, with a population of a little over 400 people, one of its residents would be killed in the middle of the street in broad daylight with over 60 witnesses to the murder, but it would still go unsolved to this day. Ken Rex McElroy was born to a family of poor farmers. He dropped out of school in the 8th grade and was said to have never learned how to read. And after dropping out of school, he made a name for himself as the town bully and kind of the worst person ever. Ken started his life of crime with petty thievery and then escalated to extreme violence, essaying children, and attempted murder. Ken was said to have connections with the mob and had a really good mob lawyer, which was really good for Ken because he was arrested for multiple felonies every single year, but he would never see a day behind bars, either with the help of his really good fancy lawyer or by threatening the lives of witnesses so they wouldn't testify against him. And Ken was also apparently quite charming and somewhat good with women, but he did not like women. He liked teenage girls around 13 years old. Ken met his second wife when she was 15 years old and he was 24 years old. During an argument, Ken accidentally shot her in the chin and then was able to threaten her to drop the charges against him and marry him after that, and the two would have 4 children. Ken then began cheating on his 15-year-old bride with a 14-year-old girl and got her pregnant 3 times before she turned 17. Ken would actually have over a dozen children with multiple different women. And then when Ken was 37 years old, he met his third wife when she was only 12 years old, a girl named Trina McLeod. And when Trina was 14 years old, Ken got her pregnant for the first time, and shortly after giving birth, Trina attempted to escape Ken's abuse by taking her baby and running away to her parents' house. So what does Ken do? Ken goes to her parents' house, kills their dog, and then burns their house to the ground. When Ken was arrested, he was able to convince Trina's parents into not only dropping the charges against him, but to allow their 15-year-old daughter to marry the now 42-year-old Ken Rex McElroy. Like I said, the town that Ken lived in was a population of around 400 people, and pretty much everyone was a victim of Ken's at some point, one way or another, whether that was Ken threatening their lives, assaulting them, or robbing them. There was an instance where one day Ken was trespassing on the land of a local farmer. When that farmer tried to get Ken off of his land, Ken shot the farmer in the stomach and still never saw a day in jail. This man was terrorizing the small town and everyone was terrified of him, including the police. The local people felt abandoned by the police, and at the time it seemed like there was nothing they could do to stop Ken. That was, of course, until April 25th, 1980. That day, Ken's 8-year-old daughter was accused of stealing candy from the local general store. The local general store was owned by a 70-year-old man named Bo Bowenkamp and his wife. When Ken heard of this incident, he actually began to not only threaten, but stalk the elderly couple. And he continued to stalk and threaten the couple until July of that year, when Ken drove to the store and shot the 70-year-old Bo Bowenkamp in the neck at close range. Luckily, Bo Bowenkamp survived, and for the first time in Ken Rex McElroy's life, he was found guilty of a crime, but he was not convicted of attempted murder. He was convicted of the lesser crime of second-degree assault and was sentenced to only 2 years in prison, but was quickly released on bail attempting his appeal. And by the next day, Ken was back in the local bar with a firearm threatening the life of Bo Bowenkamp, and the town of Skidmore, Missouri had finally had enough. On the morning of July 10th, 1981, Ken was back at his local bar, and at the exact same time down the street, a town meeting was being held about what the heck are we gonna do about Ken. About 60 people were in attendance, including the town's mayor and sheriff. No one except those that were in the meeting know exactly what was said, but what we do know is the meeting ended with a group of 60 people heading towards their local bar in an almost mob-like fashion. And at that exact same time, Ken was leaving the bar, heading towards his truck with a 6-pack of beer. And then there, on the main street of Skidmore, Missouri, in broad daylight with at least 60 people crowding around, Ken Rex McElroy was shot dead. No one came to his aid or called an ambulance. And despite there being at least 60 witnesses to the murder, when questioned by police, no one in the town saw anything. No one saw who shot Ken. No one in the town ever said anything to this day. The FBI even got involved, but no one was ever arrested for the murder of Ken. And to this day, the murder of Ken Rex McElroy is still unsolved. This is such an interesting and bizarre case of vigilante justice. I'm really interested to get your guys' take on this case, and if you think murder is ever justified. Leave me all your thoughts in the comments, and while you're there, please let me know what case you want to see me cover next. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you guys tomorrow with another video.
Do you know the true story of Robert the doll? In the early 1900s, Robert was gifted to a boy named Robert Eugene Otto, who quickly became attached to the doll. They say young Gene spoke to Robert constantly, and it seemed that Robert answered back. They heard voices coming from his room, whispers, and strange faint laughter. As Jean grew, so did the doll's legend. Guests reported seeing Robert's expression change, sometimes smiling, sometimes glaring, and people saw him moving, finding him in new rooms with no one else in the house. Could Robert really move on his own? And if so, what was he looking for? After Jean's passing, Robert was placed in the Fort East Martello Museum, but he came with rules. Visitors must ask his permission before taking a photo. Those who don't often report sudden misfortunes, or worse. Would you dare meet Robert? They say he's still waiting for those who disrespect him.